9 days away from the NFL draft, and I am completely just tired of talking about the same 2 to 3 quarterbacks in this draft class. So we're going to find out who are some of the sleeper QBs in this draft, and if one of them can be the future QB1 for the Jets and Giants with CBS Sports NFL analyst, my guy, Emory Hunt. My man, with the official combine clothes on, too. I like it. What's going on, bro?
I'm doing fine, man. You looking like a nice cup of coffee, man. I
I,
like
I,
it.
I appreciate that, man. All right, let's get into your 2025 football game plan, scouting draft prospect guide. It's out. This is what I use. But before we start talking about NFL draft as a whole, let's keep it to New York first. Both the Jets and Giants have already grabbed quarterbacks in free agency. So I personally don't expect them to grab one in the first round. So who are some of the quarterbacks that you think will fall out of the first round but could be a great pickup for the Jets or Giants for the future?
If you look at the Giants, start with those guys, they're in a unique spot because normally when teams are looking for the quarterback of the future, they have to use that guy right away. But the Giants have added two solid veteran free agents that can start games for them so you can win games while you are developing your QB of the future. So let's say, and I know we're not talking about the first round because it would make sense for them to take Shador Sanders right there at three
Yep.
because you could develop that guy behind two veterans that he could start next year. But if we're looking past round one, maybe late day two, I'm a big Brady Cook guy. And Brady Cook is my fourth ranked quarterback. And the reason why I like Brady Cook, he's battle tested. He's tough. He's physical. He's physically gifted. He had the best time at the in the 40-yard dash, athletically at the combine. Obviously, Jalen Milroe didn't run, but for the guys that went out there and tested, he tested perfectly. Had 37.5-inch vertical. Then he had the best throwing session of the combine, in my opinion. So when you look at how he played in these games, some of these high stakes games, I keep bringing up the touchdown pass he threw to Luther Burden against South Carolina, which looked like they were going to pull off the upset. But South Carolina came right back down the field and scored the game-winning points. But those type of performances from Brady Cook is what stood out to me consistently. He did it against Arkansas his freshman year. They couldn't stop his legs, and they were able to pull off the upset against the Razorbacks back in 2021. So big fan of Brady Cook. I liken his game to Andy Dalton when he came out of TCU. Remember how he had that run
Yep.
at TCU against, got those guys to the Rose Bowl. So I'm a big fan of what Brady Cook brings to the table. That's one guy I really like in this class.
And I mean, you're saying for him to have the best 40 time out of all the quarterbacks, athletically, I would think he'd be better than Andy Dalton. And I love that for a Brian Dable type offense. You think of how many design runs he would call for a Josh Allen or a Daniel Jones. He wasn't able to get that same production in the run game out of their quarterback when Daniel Jones went down, and you had to go to a Drew Lock or a Tim Boyle or even a Tommy DeVito. What about for the Jets, though? Because they grabbed Justin Fields. You see how he doesn't respond to rhetorical questions or hypothetical questions when it comes to the Jets drafting a quarterback. So who could be a good fit for them that kind of falls into out of the first round?
Well, I love his answer, number one, because I feel like he's their franchise guy.
Okay.
He's young enough, talented enough, and when you go and watch those games, he played with the Bears and with Pittsburgh. You never came away saying they lost because of Justin Fields, right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
Fields has that talent to be that guy. But when you look at this Jets depth chart, Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Travis, Adrian Martinez, former UFL MVP, and when you think about, okay, they have a type, they have a guy that they love mobility. They want someone that can also be a plus one in the run game. I like KJ Jefferson, someone that has been forgotten about in this draft class because he didn't have the year at UCF that he had at Arkansas. When had he come out 2 years ago, we would be talking about him as a second round pick, right? But he went back to school at Arkansas. They were up and down. Then he grad transferred to Central Florida, and it didn't pan out there. He suffered some injuries. So here's someone you can get on late day three or even as an undrafted rookie free agent that fits your mold of what you have already in tow in the depth chart. So KJ Jefferson, tough, physical guy, played a little bit like Ben Roethlisberger at Arkansas, where his body was just sacrificed to the defenses. They just used to pound on him, but he used to get up and throw guys off. And very tough-minded quarterback. Day three, undrafted free agent, fits your MO of what you have in the depth chart.
Okay.
KJ Jefferson would be a good pick for the New York Jets.
And I'm with you on liking Justin Fields' comments because it's the NFL. We're all competing. Everybody's compete from the top down. Even if you're the highest paid guy there, you just got to compete with a guy who may get paid less than you. But if he's doing the same things you're doing, they're going with him because, that's Walmart savings right there on the salary cap. Let's move on and talk about kind of some of the later rounds because we've seen quarterbacks like Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins get drafted in the 4th round. Tom Brady, Matt Hasselbeck, Brock Purdy were drafted in the 6th and 7th round. That's not a bad thing because Dak's the highest paid quarterback in the game right now, and Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. So who are some guys that could fall in the mid and later rounds, but you think could have some really solid or even great careers?
You know what? Graham Mertz is someone out of Florida who is going criminally underrated. He was one of the top high school prospects to come out of high school and surprised everybody by going to Wisconsin, which was a huge haul for them because they'd never had that type of quarterback prospect sign with those guys. But it didn't work out in Wisconsin. He was sort of up and down, got blamed a lot for what they weren't able to do there. He goes to Florida. In the last 2 seasons with Billy Napier, he's been outstanding. And so when you think about last year, he had the highest completion percentage in the SEC. And last time I checked, everybody talked about the SEC being big ball, right?
Yep.
This is someone that played really good football. And had he not gotten injured against Tennessee, they beat the Volunteers in Knoxville. So he was playing really good ball and was doing a good job of keeping DJ Lagway at bay enough. He makes great decisions, good on the move, good accuracy. And that's all the things that we saw to start to come to fruition under Billy Napier. Then he tears his ACL, Lagway takes over, and the rest is history. So he is someone on day 3 who showed at his pro day he's able to throw the football, no real ill effect. So he's going to be a sleeper deep in the draft that people can get and come 2 years later like, oh, wow, Graham Mertz can play. I'll throw out a small school guy that no one is bringing out, and it's Zach Zabrowski of Central Missouri. And the reason why I bring him up, if the last name sounds familiar, his dad is the offensive coordinator for the University of Kansas. So he has good coaching pedigree, he's a coach's son. But this guy won the Harlan Hill Trophy twice. That's the Division II equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. You mean tell me this dude's that good to win the D2 Heisman twice and no one's talking about him?
Yeah.
He has terrific touch, timing, anticipation, able to operate in an up-tempo offense, fantastic quarterback, someone that is a true sleeper, a true diamond in the rough to keep an eye on coming out of a Division II program.
I'm glad you're highlighting the guys who we're not talking about much because, I mean, you just think of a player like that. Let's say he gets drafted in the late 6th, 7th round somewhere. Fans are going to be like, who is this guy? Why are we wasting the draft pick? But they're bringing him in because of the accolades the kid can play. And if he gets caught up to NFL speed, who knows? Anything can happen. And I'm going through your draft, your scouting report, and I'm looking at all these names like, man, this kid could play. This kid with the right system could be an NFL quarterback. So are you buying the hype or the narrative that this isn't a loaded quarterback draft, especially compared to last season's?
I'm glad you asked that question and brought that up because that's one of my biggest pet peeves because I go so deep in terms of grading that I'm always finding good football players. And yeah, you may not have, everybody wants to do their job in a more easier, efficient way. They just want to scrape off the top. Oh, who is the recognizable guys? Oh, I don't see on that many. Oh, it's not a good class.
Yeah.
But when you really just do the scouting work and you dig deep every year, you'll find guys that can legitimately play. If you go back in my scouting reports, you'll see what I had on Jordan Travis for the Jets. You'll even see what I had on Adrian Martinez when he came out of school and he had to go to the UFL, win MVP to get that NFL shot. So that's the type of talent you see that's out there that may not get drafted. So I don't buy that each and every season where folks say this is not a deep class. It's always a deep class just by sheer numbers of how many people play college football. So I'm always of the mindset you can find talent out there, even in Canada. Taylor Algersman, a quarterback out of Wilfrid Laurier, might end up getting drafted in 2 leagues, the NFL and CFL. He's a fantastic QB.
I mean, yeah. Look at you! Shout out to Canada up there, and you nailed the pronunciation. When it came to that school, I played up there. I was in French Quebec. I can't even pronounce that. So after when you really break it down and you look at it, and I know this is just kind of like a guesstimation, how many quarterbacks do you think are going to be selected in this year's draft?
I would probably say around 7
Okay.
or 8, somewhere around that way. It's rather conservative. Day 3 can get a little bit crazy. You may see some guys fly off the board, but because we're seeing the running back class be as deep as it is or has been since 2017, and because I think this is a very good, because of the nature of college football, we're going to see a lot of receivers and a lot of cornerbacks.
Yep.
Just by the 3, 4, 5 wide receiver sets, and by nature on the other side, guys going to need to be able to cover those guys. So there's always an abundance of receivers and defensive backs. I think linebackers a very, very expansive class. So you may see 7 or 8 quarterbacks total get drafted. Obviously, the first round guys, and then we'll see the next guys go on day 3 probably.
Emory Hunt, 2028, a man of the people and the players. Appreciate you hopping on with us, man, showing some love to some guys whose names going to be called, but they're just not hearing their names in the cycle, in the news cycle right now, man. Appreciate you.